Hey everyone, I'm Rich. I've been putting the Galaxy S23 Ultra through its paces, and I'm ready to give you guys my 1-month review on it. There's a handful of really cool and unique features that I think is special to the Ultra when it comes down to both the software and the hardware. So let me know down in the comments below if the S23 Ultra is something that you're looking at getting. If you already have it, how's it treating you? Or what are some things that you like about this phone, or some things that you don't like? I mean, if you take a look at this phone's design, it's basically the same phone as the S22 Ultra, other than maybe a few minor changes. The sides have a more squared off edge, which personally makes it, for me, a little bit much better to feel and grip. After a month of using this without a case, yes, I know, Rich, you are very daring. I feel really confident just kind of holding it in my hand and gripping it. The S22 Ultra, in my opinion, felt just a little bit slippery sometimes. All of the S23 Ultra models, including the Plus and the regular, are rocking the nicely textured Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on both sides, back and front. It actually feels very comfortable as the back of the phone's glass, which doesn't even look like glass to me, really. Rarely attracts a lot of fingerprints or oils. This just feels like one of those small improvements that you'll notice after a month, and I definitely appreciate that. It's also, again, rocking an IP68 water resistant rating, so you can run this out of water. The S23 Ultra is a large phone, and if you've seen the S22 Ultra, then you know what I mean. If not, you're going to be in for a real treat. And in my personal opinion, seeing the S23 Ultra at your local phone store, enclosed in the metal casing with a bunch of fingerprint oils and all that, doesn't really do its justice. When I actually got this phone in the mail, it looks and feels much better in person. Very premium, I feel like. It's quite nice, and it also kind of surprised me. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a huge fan of big phones like these. It's just, it's kind of big. Putting it inside my pockets and walking around with it can get kind of cumbersome sometimes, and doesn't feel as light as fast as whipping out maybe something like an S23 instead. The added weight on the Ultra does feel noticeable, and the corners of the phone do kind of stick out. If you're wearing women's clothing, yeah, good luck with that, because I guess the fashion industry doesn't want women's pockets being too large. So I found myself putting this in my backpack for most of the time, or just taking it out of my pockets and putting it on the table a lot when I'm sitting down. The screen is still rocking that beautiful 6.8-inch 1440p LTPO OLED panel with the top 120Hz refresh rate, which can go all the way up to a whopping 1750 nits. The regular S23 I reviewed can also do this. You can turn this on by turning off adaptive brightness and turning on extra brightness. On a bright and sunny day like this, where the sun rays is literally shooting straight down on the Ultra, I didn't have a problem looking at this phone. You can see here on camera, this phone screen gets bright. The 120Hz screen is once again always a pleasure to look at. Navigating across the UI, the web, or social media looks and feels nimble on here. The colors look wonderful and vibrant on the screen, as it's using a DCI P3 color space rather than the standard sRGB range, which makes HDR content look even more powerful. If you're watching some content or playing games on the Ultra, I mean, there's no other way of saying it, man. I mean, it's sensational. One downside I have noticed about the screen and display is that it can get scratches pretty easily. I'm not sure how or why, but I really try my best to be careful with this device. I put it in my pockets with nothing else in it, no keys, no wallets, no nothing like that. Some other users also report that they also got some micro abrasions on their Ultra screen. The display also traps a lot of very small dust particles on these sides. I had to use the compressed air cans a few times to blow this off, and then it also gets trapped behind where the cameras are. So if you have a case on this, you're gonna find some small dust particles on here pretty often. Now, I'm sure you heard by now the brilliant Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor that's on this device, with a slightly higher max clock speed on the performance core and slightly higher clock speed on the GPU. So to be exact, 3.36 gigahertz instead of 3.2, and 719 megahertz on the GPU. Benchmark and nitty gritty stuff on the side, I feel like in real world usage, when I was using the regular S23, I felt like the Ultra felt slightly more responsive than the regular S23. It just felt like it was picking up my hand gestures more. Scrolling down Google Chrome for me felt faster. Maybe some other S23 Ultra users can relate if they compared it to the S23. But hey, regardless, this is an absolute beast of a chip. What I found mattered most here was the better power efficiency in regards to the battery in gaming. The new Qualcomm chip can attack through graphically intense games with practically all max settings, and it looks beautiful. I'd say past 35 minutes or so of load, the phone starts to get a little warm to the touch, but again, I haven't felt a single slowdown at all. For example, I can exit out of a game real quick, video call a friend on Instagram, send a picture to them or something, and get back right into gaming. No lag spikes at all, nothing. I also think it's partly due to the whopping 12 gigabytes of RAM that's on this device. They slapped it in here. This is a lot. It's already more than enough for everyday daily needs and heavy loads. We haven't seen any AI applications or augmented reality apps that would require more memory, so from a future proofing perspective, I see no reasons why 12 gigabytes would be essential, but then again, why not? The battery life and efficiency has been improved on here significantly. With the phone this large, they're able to support a 5000 milliamp battery. With the 120Hz refresh rate, I was able to get a whopping 12 to 14 hours of use here. Even with all the gaming and shooting videos and photos on here, it's held up pretty well. And actually, now that I think about it, I didn't charge this phone in like 3 days. Yeah, I'm actually on 5% right now. You can save even an hour or two more if you turn this down to 60 Hertz, maybe turn the low battery mode on. The S23 Ultra is capable of up to 45 watts of wired fast charging, which they sadly don't ship in with the box. But if you're someone like me who loves Anker products, not a sponsored video by the way, I was able to go from a full charge from 0 to 100 in just under an hour and 20 minutes via the 20W Anker power brick I have. So please thank the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip that's in here. They're saving me a bunch of time by being efficient and letting me charge faster. I'm sure you all heard about the new 200 megapixel primary camera with the double optical image stabilization range as before, and then the new sensors across the ultra wide, the 3x telephoto, and the 10x periscope cameras. I did a whole comparison on the S23 Ultra where I just rid around the skateboard in Philadelphia with my friends. You can check out the video right up here. We tested the 100x zoom 8K video and the nighttime stuff, so it was really cool, very fun to watch. But let's start with the main 200 megapixel shooter. You know, it's not a true 200 megapixel shooter because you can't really physically fit a sensor that allows that much light in, so the camera compiles multiple photos in one. The AI and computer swoops in and gives us a picture that we all know and love. This is also known as binning. The results are spectacular. I mean, here, look at the picture I took of the Brooklyn Bridge. One's at 12 megapixel and the other is at 200. So if you zoom in a little bit more, you can really see that the 200 megapixel one holds in a lot more data. But really though, in most use scenarios, I find myself shooting mostly in 50 or 12 megapixels just to save space. If I'm with my friends or taking pictures for regular stuff, I mean, yeah, that 12 megapixel photo of the bridge, it doesn't look bad. Portrait shots, pictures of scenic landmarks all look very beautiful, and the low light capabilities are pretty amazing too. As you can see how dark I was outside during this time, and I was able to get a picture of my friend standing still like this. The AI does a really wonderful job post-processing and giving us a really good photo. Stabilization is also really good on this. I mean, the improvement on video is just amazing. The phone software can correct a plethora of shaky footage, and they do it well. It almost feels slightly robotic at some times. Like, I kind of don't feel like I need to bring out my gimbal because it's so smooth here. Let's also not forget about the 8K 30 FPS video feature, which very few phones can execute well. You can actually see the sharpness difference if you really punch in. 8K does a great job if you can fully utilize it. For example, maybe you're recording something that's far away and maybe you want to zoom in after you get the clip and correct it in post. It does hoard in a ton of data and information, which also does affect the battery life and storage a lot. So most of the time I'll just keep it to maybe 1080p 30 if I'm just out with my friends or taking pictures of whatever it may be during my daily life. And if I'm going out on vacations or trips or anywhere scenic, I guess I'll turn it up to 8K, see what I can do there. But like I said, yeah, 8K 30 FPS, that's beautiful. All right, and let's talk about some really cool features that's on the S23 Ultra. Some of these things stood out to me a lot. Director's View, which allows you to record using footage using both the back and the front camera. You can customize this to have it in picture-in-picture mode, split, or single take mode. I find this super handy when you're capturing some reactions of certain things. Maybe you want to see yourself as well as what's in front of you. Maybe you're at like a festival or a car meet or something. Maybe you're also vlogging too. This is a super handy feature, and surprised not many other phone companies or camera companies are doing this. Expert RAW, Samsung is reducing the hassle by integrating its shortcut in the stock camera app with the One UI 5.1 update. RAW files, as some of us would know, are lossless, meaning it captures uncompressed data from your camera sensor, which gives you the max amount of information to edit. You know, editing these photos on Adobe Lightroom can come out pretty damn well if you know what you're doing. So yeah, so like I said, if I'm out somewhere scenic or I want to get a really good photo of someone or something, I'm probably going to shoot an expert RAW because I really want that best photo so I can edit it later in post. Single take is another really cool feature. This will capture multiple photos at once of any subject that you have. Anything that's in fast motion, you really can't grab at a certain time because the shutter lag on here sometimes can be a little bit slow. The camera's AI will decide which angles to snap, so all of your photos come out crisp and bright. This is super useful if you got stuff that's moving in motion, maybe your pet, your dog, a bird, someone playing soccer, I don't know, man. And then moving on to photo gallery. Photo gallery has a lot of cool stuff as well, first of which is being remastering. It can turn a dull photo into an awesome edit on the fly when you don't have the time to edit it, and most of the time it does a really good job. You can also lift subjects out of a photo, which technically iOS did here first, but the feature looks just as well on here. You can also take this further by using the S Pen and drawing around the areas that you'd like to crop out. And the software does a really good job detecting what you need to crop out and what you don't, so give that a play. And moving on to the S Pen itself too, there's also something called GIF Creator, which is a very practical tool if you're a funny guy like me who likes to make GIFs and send it to their friends. You can do this by hitting the Smart Select tool and hitting the GIF option right after that. This could make for some pretty hilarious GIFs, and I love how they built this right into the Galaxy. You don't have to download some third-party app or something like that. It's almost like they intended to have fun with this device. Screen off memo is also one of my mostly used feature on here. If you need to jot down or write a note like now, you can just pull the pen out and start writing. It's kind of like having your own personal notebook everywhere. It's very useful for someone like me at school when, when the professor is like kind of talking away and, I'm not picking up what she's saying, so I need to write that down quick. And lastly, something more practical is the S Pen shutter. Taking photos have never been easier on this device. I've used the S Pen as like a remote shutter so many times that I lose count if you ask me. When I'm with a group of friends or I'm outside taking pictures by myself, for myself actually, I can literally just stand back, pop the pen out, set the phone aside, and just click right here to snap a picture. There's also some gestures that you can do on this. I was playing with this on the S22 Ultra a while back, but if you click the pen at the same time, you can swipe your hand and go through like the camera settings, and you can navigate through the camera options. But yeah, to wrap up this video, I think Samsung did a really great job giving us a phone that checks pretty much most of the boxes when it comes to something premium, something flagship, something top of the line. Did I forget anything? The fingerprint sensor, I feel like works fine for me. Some people said that it was kind of slow or not picking it up as well. I think I didn't have any problems with it. I think it was very fast and accessible. Like, I get in pretty quick. Other than that, that's all I have for this video. So if you guys liked it, let me know in the comments below if this is something that you're gonna getting. Do you have this phone already? Are you looking to upgrade? Are you maybe an iPhone user and you want to switch over? Let me know. If there's something I missed in this video too, or you think it's worth mentioning, tell me so I can pick it up so I can learn more from you guys. But like I said, thanks for watching all the way to the end. And until the next video, guys, I'll see you then.